Hey, hi. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, today being the last day of this workshop. Sorry, yeah. So what majorly we would be going ahead and doing today is we would be going ahead and doing a quick overview of what we did in the past 2 days, and then we would be moving forward in going ahead and writing some fancy prompt, like we would be understanding just like adding one or two line of prompt, how exactly we can go ahead and change the behavior of the model is something which we would be going ahead and understanding. Okay, I do see messages which says that you would be needing the files from yesterday. So yeah, the team is uploading the file. Okay, so there would be a zip file altogether. Okay, session2.zip file, which would be having all the codes file which I shared yesterday. So yes, the same code was written in three or four different ways, where we had a fancy UI, where we didn't had a fancy UI. There we had some functionalities in another code and some functionality not in another code. Okay, so those all things would be uploaded in all in one documentation URL. You can get it over there. Okay, so soon it would be done after the session. Okay, yeah, good evening, everyone. Okay, so let's start with what could be the agenda for today. Okay, so yes, we understood the word LLM itself. We understood what Olama is capable of, and we understood that how the behavior of the LLM works and how does it goes ahead and utilize the computational power to go ahead and give you a response to your text in natural language. But apart from what you go ahead and use in your chat gpt to go ahead and answer certain question, you go ahead and ask it to go ahead and create a documentation for you. You can also go ahead and ask it to go ahead and write any complex code or solve any complex problem. Apart from that, there are n number of possibilities which this are capable of. Okay, apart from just going ahead and question answering and solving some problem statement, they are capable of going ahead and executing certain tasks as well. Okay, so as I told, there was something which is known as traditional AI, where we use machine learning, deep learning. Now there is something which came as a generative AI, where we have this LLMs which are generative in nature. You give a certain set of token, and as an output, it goes ahead and give you a certain text of tokens. Okay, so next to that, there is something which is upcoming in the industry right now, which is known as agentic AI. Okay, just like your LLMs. Okay, what they go ahead and do is, in case now what you do, you go to chat gpt and you go ahead and get a certain piece of code from chat gpt. Okay, so it will go ahead and give you that code. Agentic AI, on the other hand, is capable of going ahead and executing that code as well. Okay, so if I go ahead and take a code to visualize the data into a graphical format, and then what I need to do, I need to go ahead and take that code, execute it to my system, and it would be going ahead and giving me the graph. Here, this agentic AI system is capable of going ahead and taking that code, actually going ahead and executing the code, and directly returning you the graph as an output. Okay, this is what it would be capable of doing. So this was just a simple example to go ahead and make you understand, okay, that where the industry is heading forward. Still, when you would be going ahead and getting introduced to this technology, the idea is to go ahead and make you understand that when you would be listening this word, that agent AI, some of you would have already heard about it, and few of you would be listening it in future if you are slowly getting into this domain. That agentic AI thing is nothing but the same LLM which works on the background. Okay, it goes ahead and have the capability of executing the prompt which you have written into actions. This is what the LLM are also capable of. Today, the main agenda would be to go ahead and make you understand that how prompting works. Okay, how you can go ahead and change the behavior of your model based on what you go ahead and write it as a prompt. Okay, if you don't go ahead and write a prompt, it would be going ahead and behaving naturally, which it would be going ahead and not getting any bias to any of the information, or not going ahead and focusing on any of the aspect. It will go ahead and give its natural behavior. But when you go ahead and write a prompt to it, it will go ahead and follow a certain rules or certain set of instructions, and then it will go ahead and try to behave in that format. Just in case of we humans, we have some natural behavior, and when we are to somewhere, we go ahead and have our personality over there, which would be altogether a slight different personality. So based on what we are instructed, we go ahead and behave in that format. Similarly, this LLM as well, they go ahead and tend to behave in that format when you go ahead and write a prompt to them. Okay, so we what I would be doing today is I would be using the same chunk of code which we used yesterday, and I would be showing you just by, not in terms of coding is what we would be doing much today. Okay, we would be majorly focused towards going ahead and writing the prompt. So I'll share my screen. Okay, so just to give you an overview, this were the files from yesterday. Okay, and this is the file which we typed in classroom yesterday. Okay, so now what I have done over here is, if you would have the, now I believe if you could see the all-in-one documentation, the code should be there. Okay, so there is a zip file which is uploaded, which is known as session2.zip, which would be having all this code file. So you can go ahead and download it from there. That will go ahead and take you to this file over there. Okay, so this file there, you, if you could go ahead and see, the only lines which are changed over here is this line. Okay, and this line over here. Okay, so what we are doing over here is, I have created a prompt.py file. So bootcamp file, what do you mean by bootcamp files? I'm not sure. Okay, so yeah, so there is something which is known as prompt .py. What I have done, I have created a variable over here, and I'll go ahead and write instructions over here. Okay, well, it could be any instruction, but in prompt are nothing but instruction. Before actually going ahead and taking you to the prompt, I'll give you a theoretical explanation of prompt as well, that how to write them and how exactly they go ahead and operate. Okay, and there is something which is known as our app.py. Okay, so what we do is, whenever the user is sending a message to the chatbot, we are going ahead and adding a delimiter. The delimiter could be everything, anything. It could be a slash n, or as per your choice you want to keep the delimiter for. I have kept it as this. Okay, just to go ahead and give a unique identification, I have give this as a delimiter. Just refresh the page and check in all-in-one documentation. The in the uh, drop down where there are details about this, there you can go ahead and see that there is a link for all-in-one documentation. There you can go ahead and find the session2.zip file. You can go ahead and download it from there. Okay, so what I'm doing is, along with the user message, every time I am passing a dynamic prompt. Okay, what I'll do is, now I'll go ahead and keep this prompt empty. I won't go ahead and write anything within this prompt. Okay, and if I go ahead and run this. Okay, I'll just go ahead and send hi, how are you. Rag is altogether a different thing. Okay, I'll go ahead and make you introduced to that as well. Right now, this is engineering is what we would be going ahead and doing. Rag architecture involves retrieval, augmentation, and generation. That's a different thing. Okay, I'll go ahead and try to cover that as well. Okay, so what it did, it went ahead and responded in this format, English. Let me just check all-in-one documentation. So if I go ahead and check all-in-one documentation, there is something which is known as resource files. Okay, resource files. Just below resource file, there is something which is known as session2.zip file. Yes, I can see the file is there, Shika Gupta. The lang flow you are talking one from lang graph, correct? And obviously this has a lot of job openings right now. Yes, it does. Okay, so this is what it behaved, and it gave the response up to its natural tendency. It went ahead and it responded. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and give it an instruction that you are a smart chatbot. You need to respond to user question only in Hindi. Okay, I'll save this. I'll rerun the program, and I'll go ahead and send the same message again. Now let's see how it goes ahead and behaves. So I've downloaded a lot of models in my system right now. Okay, so this is making my system a little bit slow. So within 2 days, I've downloaded like 20 to 30 GB of the models in my local system. Usually, it won't take this much of time for you if you have only one model. Okay, I've almost consumed like 80 to 90% of the storage now. Yeah, sorry about heavy breathing. I'm uh, sinus patient. Usually, I do breathe heavily. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'll avoid. Yeah. Okay, so yes, I went ahead and I wrote a simple prompt that you are a smart. Okay, I missed on the spelling. Sorry, I am a smart chatbot, and you need to respond user question only in Hindi. So what it did is it went ahead and responded only in Hindi, even though the question it was in English. Okay, and this is different from what we did previously. Previously, I asked the question in English and it responded in English. So this is just a basic one liner thing which I went ahead and wrote just to make you understand that how it goes ahead and follows the instructions and listen to it and then goes ahead and respond. Okay, now talking about the part where we would be understanding the prompt. Okay, so there are various method within the industry which is also termed as prompt engineering thing. Okay, so right now you would see jobs, or you would see openings related to generative AI engineer, AI engineer, prompt engineering, RAG architecture, LLMs, and this all technologies is what yeah, this all technologies is what you would be hearing as a jobs requirement. Okay, so majorly how it works is, okay, so all of this revolved around the prompt engineering technique only. All is that you need to be good at your programming. Okay, either you are using Node or you are using Python, you should be good with that, the first thing. Okay, the second thing here could be that you should be good at writing prompt. When it comes to prompt, it is not that simple that you go ahead and write an instruction. You would say that I go to ChatGPT and I get my work done. It is not that easy. Okay, so when you are writing prompt in the industry, okay, you are writing for a very specific requirement, and the idea is to go ahead and get that static specific requirement every time you go ahead and hit that API. Okay, it is unlike a chat GPT where a slide of a here and there would go ahead and work. You can go ahead and copy the output and go ahead and paste it somewhere. But industry, that output is directly consumed by a machine. Output of a machine is directly consumed as an input by the machine. So the output needs to be static every time you go ahead and hit that API. And that is the main goal which we go ahead and achieved as a prompt engineer. Okay, just to go ahead and make sure that we have at least 90 to 95% of accuracy. When I say accuracy, it is not about correctness of the response, it is about the staticness of the response, okay, which we are expecting as an output. Okay, so this is what prompt engineering is all about. So when we talk about prompt engineering, okay, we go ahead and divide the prompt into yeah, I'll explain how we link the prompt to the file. It's very simple. Okay, so when we talk about prompt, the prompt basically have three parts. One is the base prompt. Okay, then there is something which is known as few short example, which is optional, and there could be something which is known as additional notes. Okay, so base prompt, three parts as I mentioned. First would be base prompt. Second one would be a few short examples, and the third one would be notes. Okay, so these are the major three parts by which we go ahead and write a prompt. Okay, now what I have written a simple prompt over here, just a base prompt. Few shots and notes are always optional. Base prompt is something which is a compulsory thing which you need to go ahead and write. Okay, now over here I have app.py. So yesterday my app.py was just going ahead and directly taking the user message as an input. Okay, it was not having the prompt within it. So what I did is, along with the user message, every time I'll dynamically go ahead and append the prompt as an input to the model. How I go ahead and do that? I created a prompt.py file. I created a variable prompt. Okay, and then what I am doing at the top, I am just calling that variable from that file. So from prompt, you need to go ahead and import prompt, and I am using that variable over here. So whatever I go ahead and make changes over here, it would be directly going ahead and reflecting within this variable, which would be dynamically passed with each and every question. You go ahead and bounce it to the chatbot. Okay, so this is how I go ahead and link the, what I would say, prompt with my main file. Clear till here, everyone? Okay, I have zoomed a little bit so it would be clear more. Okay, so now what we would be doing is, we would be trying to go ahead and solve a problem. Okay, where we would be trying to, you know, get one thing is, we would be passing as an input SMS, and we would be making our model capable of identifying whether it is a spam SMS or a ham SMS. So this is the same example which I took in the very first session, where I had shown you that using machine learning and deep learning, we used to go ahead and solve this business problem. Now, but just writing simple prompts, you can go ahead and solve this problem. Okay, so this is what we would be going ahead and achieving today. Okay, we would be going ahead and taking a business problem. So to get started with, what I'll do is, I'll go ahead and write it that what it would be going ahead and doing. So you are a smart assistant. So what I have written over here is just two simple line that you need to identify whether this message is a ham or spam. Let's see how this goes ahead and behave. Okay, I'll just write over here your output. This finishes my prompt in 3 lines. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and utilize this. I'll rerun the code. I went to Kaggle and I have opened a data set. Okay, just a dummy data set to go ahead and get some messages. Okay. Okay, just a normal spam message is what I will take away from here. Okay, and I'll go to my chatbot and I'll just bound this that message here. Sir, if we route this prompt line directly to a chat box, does it answer or not? Okay, so understand this. Your question, you had a valid question, that what if I would have written this prompt directly to my chatbot? Yes, it would have worked. Okay, but in industry, the prompt does not work like this. It's a 3 line 2 line prompt. In industry, you are creating a system which will go ahead and identify a spam message or a ham message. Correct. So you are not you won't go ahead and write that same prompt or copy paste the same prompt every time. It needs to be stored somewhere in the backend such that it dynamically comes every time. This, what you can see over here, what I have written, it goes from the backend to the chatbot every time you go ahead and bounce a question. But just the only thing is it is not getting displayed on the front end. This is the only difference. Okay, now what it did, it went ahead and have given me an output known as spam. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and get some good ham. Yes, it is like performing sentiment analysis. Yes, I'll go ahead and now bounce this question. Okay, which was supposed to be a ham. This is use of capital letters and lack of standard English punctuation suggests that this is likely a scam. Okay, now what I have seen over here is this is a misclassification which this model is doing. Okay, now what I need to go ahead and do is I need to go ahead and give it scenarios where it need to go ahead and understand that what comes under spam and what comes under ham. Okay, now this was supposed to be a ham message. Obviously, one of your friend can go ahead and type this message to you, how this can possibly a spam, this should be a ham message. Correct. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and now work on my prompt. This is where I will understand that some work needs to be done in my prompt engineering. Okay. Okay, now I have made some changes. Okay, I have made it more precise that what I feel could be a spam messages. Okay, now I'll rerun this for the same question. It still gave me a spam over here. Obviously it should be a ham. Okay, so now what I'll do is, okay, I'll move to the next part where I'll go ahead and add examples. First example question. Now what I have done is I have given two examples, one for ham and one for spam, and now I'll go ahead and use this prompt for the same question. Yeah, these are few short example. So we should at least acha, okay, so the message appears to be promoting competition. Okay, ask for someone for spell his name. Okay, disapproval, how spell name. Now if I do this thing over here, it went ahead and it gave ham because this is there in the few short example. Now if we are going ahead and adding few short example, it did work, but now it should have worked when I go ahead and give a similar case scenario. Now if I go ahead and just tweak a question a little bit, okay, then also it should go ahead and work. Okay, I just go ahead and write, are you serious, how to spell his name, can you tell me the ways by which I can call him. It again went to spam. So for that example, now it is not possible for us to go ahead and add 10 to. Okay, so it is not possible for us to go ahead and add each and every example to this few short example and do it. Okay, so here where we come to the point where I said in the beginning, the capabilities of the LLM. Okay, the capabilities of the LLM, it is very important to go ahead and understand that. So roadmap, yes, surely I'll go ahead and give you the roadmap for that as well. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll go to so this is a paid thing. Okay, I have an access to that. Okay, so what I'll this is a playground from OpenAI directly. This is not ChatGPT. This is just like using the LLM from OpenAI directly, and I would be using 4.1. Okay, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and add a prompt over here, the same prompt which I have written over here. Okay, the same prompt I'll add it over here, and I'll go ahead and bounce a question. The same question which I bounced it over there. Can you please tell me the ways by which I can call his name? And now see how GPT model will go ahead and uh, ham. Okay, so GPT was able to go ahead and do it. And even though if you see, I go ahead and remove this few short example. Okay, it would be able to go ahead and do classify this ham. Even without the examples also, it should be able to go ahead and classify this as ham. So every time I am removing this, it is able to do it. So that's where the difference of 400 or 300 billion tokens and 1 or 2 billion tokens comes into picture. So the capabilities of understanding, this is what I meant in the very first session. It is not why it goes ahead and give you a correct response is what I meant. So what you feel is the model, if it goes ahead and give a correct response, it is a good model. If I go ahead and ask is it anything related to India or any general knowledge, it would be able to go ahead and answer me. If I asked it any of the, what I would say, code, it would go ahead and do that, give that. But the ability capability to go ahead and understand the natural language is what limits it to go ahead and make it optimum use in the industry, and there where this powerful models comes into picture. So obviously we are learning this, they have their benefit that they are locally used, they that there is no the data security, sense of data security everywhere. But yes, this is their limitation, the ability to understand the natural language and the set of instruction is limited as compared to those model. Okay, so you need to go ahead and prompt you them up to a high extent. Okay, a lot of prompting needs to be done, you need to have very precise prompting. Okay, like each and everything needs to be mentioned precisely, such that we don't go ahead and miss on any of the part, every area should be covered within that. Okay, so this is how we go ahead and write the prompt over here. Okay, so understood how prompting works and how it is. Okay, and how it makes different, how LLM capabilities can go ahead and make your work. Okay, so yes, that's the reason the demand of prompt engineering is increasing day by day, because when you would be going ahead and having access to low token LLMs, you should be very good in prompting, you should be able to go ahead and write each and everything specifically. Okay, where you should be very specific for questions which were easy, it is able to go ahead and classify it as spam. But ham messages, it is going ahead and creating issue for us. Now if you have any doubt, you can ask me. So up to certain extent, yes, it is not that bad, but yes, it is performing good. But still, if you go ahead and see that there is a certain problem over here. Now when I mentioned chat OpenAI 4.1 model, that output should only be one word. So irrespective of how many times I ask the question, it is giving me in one word. But for certain times for this model, it is going ahead and where it is gone. It is going ahead and returning some additional text which I don't like, which I don't want as an output. Okay, so what I can do over here is I can go ahead and define one part, output format. See, this there is no nothing called a subscription or anything. You would be charged on every token you go ahead and utilize. Okay, Now I'll explain that part as well, and I also will give you the roadmap. So two things are there in my mind. Okay, so output format is something. Yes, P. Yeah, there's a creating UI for like ChatGPT is something which we did covered yesterday, and we have created a chatbot interface like UI yesterday only. So output format is something which we are writing over here. Okay, would ask it to go ahead and return the output in a JSON format. Now let's see if it is able to go ahead and do so. Okay, now it went ahead and followed that. Okay, so yes, as I said, be very specific about each and everything you go ahead and mention to the chatbot. Okay, now let's move into the part where we will be going ahead and understanding tokens. GPT token. Now you can see these colors over here. Okay, so it has utilized 9 tokens over here. Okay, 9 tokens. And now let's move in the other tab. Let's costing OpenAI models. So now the model which I am using over here right now, I can show you how much it is costing me. So it costs $2 for 1 million tokens of input. Okay, and 0.50, so this is cash input, you can ignore that for the time being. Okay, output, it costs $8 for 1 million tokens. Okay, so for every input on an average, along with the prompt, if you go ahead and utilize, let's say I have this as a prompt, I'll write it over here, 226. Okay, 226, and the question, so approximately 250 tokens. Okay, so it is $2 for 1 million, then for 250 it would be, you can do the calculation and you can see that how many how much cost it would go ahead and involve. It may look less, but you are considering this as one user. But if your application is having like 1,000 to 2,000 of users, then it would be too much for you to go ahead and handle as a cost. Okay, so yes, this model are comparatively very costly. Yes, there are some light models as well, mini models and so model, those are comparatively like cost efficient, but they again they have some limitations in going ahead and having in terms of performance. Okay, the similar type of pricing goes for other Gemini models as well as Anthropic models as well. There, that's where it creates a very big market for this offline and the open source model, and it's a very big market is created. So yes, in short, you are being paid, okay, as a prompt engineer, to go ahead and save this millions of the company. okay, where they would be going ahead and spending millions for their big application. You have been paid to go ahead and prompt this small LLMs and save this money of the company. That's where the most in demand job right now would be of a prompt engineer who can go ahead and instruct this LLM to go ahead and get a desired output. And yes, if you are looking forward to go ahead and get into this a domain, or go ahead and gain some expertise, okay, what are the prerequisites? Okay, the prerequisites here would be, okay, the prerequisites here would be nothing. Okay, I would say there are no prerequisites. Okay, you don't need to actually have some expertise in MLDL. Obviously, many people say that this is the base, this is where the foundation and everything comes from. But this is the foundation and the base for those who actually want to build this. But what you are would be working for to go ahead and utilize this. So I don't believe ML or DL expertise would be required to go ahead and get this. All you should be good at this pointers. You should be introduced to these frameworks like Crew AI, LangChain, okay, Llama Index. You should be good with prompt engineering. You should be knowing vector DB. Okay, these are the things I believe are sufficient for you to go ahead and get started with getting into this industry. There may be many other things, such as you can go ahead and understand the RAG architecture. Then there is something which is known as a model fine tuning as well, caching DB. There are many things involved, but everything revolves around this only. And either, so where to start from? So you can start from prompt engineering. Okay, this could be the first thing which you can go ahead and do. You can start from prompt engineering. You can understand that how to write a prompt, what are the different ways to write a prompt. Okay, then you can go ahead and start with going ahead and exploring these frameworks. Okay, how to go ahead and utilize this framework to go ahead and call your LLMs. So you have something which is known as your LLM, your base LLM, which is, and then you have a framework like Crew AI, LangChain, Llama Index, and then you can go ahead and write a prompt, use this framework. Then you can have something which is known as vector DB, where you can go ahead and store your data. Then you can use the RAG architecture to go ahead and retrieve the data, augment the data, and generate the response. Okay, so these are the four things which goes ahead and make it as a full stack generative AI developer. Okay, so these are the things I believe would be sufficient for you to go ahead and get started. I'm seeing if I'm missing on anything right now. I think so. No, I'm not missing on anything, but this can go ahead and give you a kickstart to this domain. And the best part is this domain is new. Okay, not much of the people have exposure to this. Okay, so still in a research phase. So yes, getting early somewhere would be of great benefit for you. You learn a lot. And out still here, anyone? Future or other developers than AI. See, let me tell you from where I am seeing this industry right now. Okay, up to 5 to 10 years. Okay, there is no trouble, no trouble to any of the developers. AI is not in a position to go ahead and get your job done. What you see online, what you see is something which is overhyped. Many a times you go ahead and see that things to be overhyped. But if I personally feel that it may go ahead and help the developers to go ahead and optimize their work, do it in a quicker way, but it is nowhere going ahead and taking their jobs. So that would be a very wrong statement to say that it will take the jobs. It may go ahead and actually help the developer to do his job better, but it is nowhere taking the job right now from where I see in the next 5 years. Okay, it is not taking the job. Yes, people, any doubt, anyone? Okay, now like quickly coming to the last part where we would be going ahead and talking about the deployment. So deployment, there are n number of methods by which you can go ahead and deploy. One of the best methods, okay. So before actually going ahead and understanding deployment, okay, sorry, not this URL. Okay, so deployment as a thing, what it means. Okay, so deployment in simple word, if I go ahead and explain you, like taking a machine what you are using right now, a laptop, on the cloud, a virtual machine, and just going ahead and running your code in that machine is something which is known as deployment. No, as of now I do not explore much on YouTube. Okay, I am not sure like if I can recommend you any Gen AI related channels. Okay, but not sure like meaning of RAG stands for retrieval augmentation and generation. Okay, so whenever you want this LLMs to go ahead and respond to your data, like whenever these models were trained, they were not having access to the private documents of the company or something which is new, or with something with the current stock price does not have that. So extract retrieving that information real time, okay, feeding it as a context to the model and asking the model to respond by utilizing that information is something which is known as RAG. Okay, so deployment, I was talking about deployment. So deployment is a very simple thing. Okay, what it does is you go ahead and take a server on the cloud, okay, and you go ahead and run that same code, and you get an endpoint from that, for that which is a public endpoint, and such that everyone can go ahead and use that URL to which the endpoint is mapped, and they can go ahead and use that URL, and you called it as a website or an application. Okay, so this is what an deployment is all about. Okay, so the industry specific, if I go ahead and talk, okay, AWS, Azure, and GCP has the market. Okay, either of the three you should be knowing. Okay, when you need to get into this ML AI or a Gen AI, whatever, anything related to this, you should be knowing either of the one. Okay, you should be knowing how to go ahead and deploy your service. A basic requirement is something which you should be having as an what an industry expects from you. Okay, now what we need to do is, okay, we need to go ahead and deploy our application which we have created. Okay, now we can use any source, we cannot use Azure, AWS, and GCP, of course, those are paid ones. Okay, so Hugging Face is one of the platform which goes ahead and gives you one server for free. Okay, it goes ahead and gives you one server for free where you can go ahead and deploy your code. Okay, so we'll be going quickly going ahead and trying that deployment. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and sign up for a new account. Yeah, so currently they are giving these capabilities to the model such that they can go to the Google and answer to your questions. Join easily find. Okay, so if you go ahead and create an account, my bad, you cannot go ahead and deploy a service for the next 24 hours. So you create an account, and after 24 hours, you can go ahead and deploy a service. Login. Okay, so here, if you could go ahead and see, there is a option of spaces. Okay, Now what you can do is you can go ahead and okay, so firstly let me just quickly show you. So this is Hugging Face. Okay, this is what I would say a community, a shopping mall, okay, where you have everything which you could go ahead and tell. Okay, so whatever we had in Olama, we have text generation model. So every model which comes, it goes ahead and comes over here as well. You can go ahead and test those model. So embeddings model, generation model, everything related to AI ML can be found within this website. Okay, so this also gives you an option to go ahead and do one deployment for free. Okay, I'll go ahead and create a new space. They use APIs for that or something else? So what do you say, what do you mean by when you say APIs? API for what? If you could go ahead and see over here. Okay, so you get a basic CPU, okay, of 16 GB RAM and 2 CPU. You get it for free. You can go ahead and do your public deployment over here like this. Okay, now what you need to do is, okay, um, now if you go ahead and check this URL, okay, now this would be a public URL over here. Okay, now if you could see my screen, I'll zoom it a little bit. Okay, so this URL, if you could see on the screen, this would be a public URL. Anyone can go ahead and open it. If you need to go ahead and run this, okay, what you need to do is you need to go ahead and get this file from here, the app.py file. Okay, you need to just go ahead and replace your code in which you are doing the LLM call and everything, okay, here, and you just need to go ahead and push that code. When you go ahead and push that code, your chatbot would actually be active over here, and you can go ahead and use your chatbot from here. Right now no chatbot is linked, then as that's the reason it will give error. Okay, for me I have some credentials saved within my system. Okay, so I cannot go ahead and use the Git. Okay, so you can always go ahead and download Git. Okay, and you can go ahead and use this. Yeah, so git clone, you can go ahead and clone it from here. You can go ahead and pull the code. If you want to go ahead and get credentials, you can get the credentials from here. Access tokens. Here you can go ahead and generate your access token. Okay, and you can go ahead and take the pull from here. LLM, see, typical training of LLM, like when OpenAI says that for them it takes 6 to 7 months to go ahead and train any LLM. Okay, I can go ahead and show you GPT models knowledge cutoff. Okay, so OpenAI and Gemini, they usually say that for us it takes like 6 to 7 months to go ahead and train our model. So if I go ahead and start today, I decide that I'll make GPT-5. Okay, I start training it today. Okay, so if I start training it today, that means the knowledge cutoff is till today. So model would be having only knowledge till today, whatever will happen in the world only till today. For the remaining 6 to 7 months, and till the time people are using it, it is not having that knowledge. Okay, so that's the reason we have a RAG architecture, where we go ahead and feed any information after the time spent till the cutoff it has. Okay, so every model has a cutoff dates. Okay, so for GPT-4 or something, 4.1, if I go ahead and see, you can see over here they have written it over here. They also go ahead and write. Okay, so for some models it is 31st January to 30 2025. Some models are deprecated because they were old model to 2024 information. So every time they go ahead and have a new model, it the cutoff of it is further. Deployment is essential nah. So whatever you are developing is, it is on your personal environment. Unless and until you go ahead and deploy it, how you would be going ahead and making it public? So if you're creating something, you want the users to go ahead and use it, correct? So unless it is public, then how they will go ahead and use it? That's the reason we have deployment. So this is what I wrote as a prompt over here, and some few things. So this updated folder is what I'll ask the team to go ahead and have it on the all-in-one documentation. Okay, and you can go ahead and download this prompt and use this. Okay, any doubts, people, related to any of the topics which we covered today? You would be finding this on the, what I'll say, on the all-in-one documentation part, where you can go ahead and use this and utilize it and download it. Okay. Thank you so much, people, for being there for the 3 days. Hope you learned something. I was in a position to go ahead and give you some insight. Okay. Uh, that's it. That's it. Yeah. Kaleshi, if you have a doubt, yes, you can ask your doubt. Yeah, I'm there. Okay, I believe. Yeah, yes, I am waiting for your doubt only. Someone had a question about Postman app. Okay, so Postman did had a major role over here. It was only to go ahead and make you understand that how information comes as a chunk. Okay, best model to strengthen your resume. So model won't go ahead and strengthen your resume. Projects can go ahead and strengthen your resume, like we tried today, an intent classification. So you can go ahead and get some information from the internet, that what are the trending projects from LLM. Building that projects using LLM can go ahead and strengthen your resume. Okay, you would have heard about, I'll share my screen again, okay, quickly, to show you one thing. Okay, just to help you people. Okay, and additional information. Okay, you would have heard about Grok LLM, which is there from X, Meta, not Twitter X. Okay, now similar to that, the reason why I told you Grok, just to make you understand the name. Okay, GROQ. Okay, so as I told, every LLM will go ahead and charge you some tokens, but Grok goes ahead and gives you an interface to go ahead and use these LLMs without any cost. You, and they also don't go ahead and utilize your local computational power. Okay, so this could be one of the things which you can go ahead and learn. Okay, about GROQ, Grok.ai. You can go ahead and build research based small POC projects here. Okay, okay, that's it from my end, team. Thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure, helping you with this. Thank you so much.